Welcome to today's video. Today's video, we're talking about what I said earlier on the year, which is I don't think battery lease buyout will happen this year. So today, I'm physically going to eat my words. So earlier on the year, I did a video all about the Renault Zoe new ZE50 and saying, is battery lease being abandoned? And I theorised some ideas that it would be abandoned eventually because running that department would become unbeneficial for RCI to run with no more battery leases coming. But I also said I don't think it'd probably happen this year, hint the start of the video, but it is going to happen. There is going to be a battery buyout programme, and today on this video we're going to discuss all the finer points of this buyout programme, what it means, prices and some of the finer points, and also should you do it? Do I honestly think you should buy out your Renault Zoe battery lease? Okay, so some finer points to get out the battery lease. To buy your Renault Zoe battery lease out, so to buy the battery lease, you're going to have to go through your local dealer. So first of all, you're going to have to find your local Renault dealer that wants to do it, because in the grand scheme of things, most of them probably can't be bothered with the paperwork this is going to involve, and to be honest, most of the battery lease buyouts are probably going to be coming from a dealer like me selling battery lease Zoe and customer going, can I buy the battery? In which case, we'd arrange this through a Renault dealer that we've got good contact with. When I asked this Renault dealer that I've got good contact with, would he like me to recommend him on this video to doing all the battery lease buyouts? He said, nah, it's probably more effort than it's worth. And he's a very, very pro-thinking dealer. Now, if you ring him up personally, he'll probably do it for you. But if I recommend him on this video and he gets 100 calls, it's not going to be worth his time. So find a local Renault dealer, ask him if they'll do the battery lease buyout for it. It's a set price with all the dealers. All the dealers will charge you the same price, or at least that's what the proposal is as of when I made this video. And the dealer does get a tiny kickback for doing the battery lease. And I mean tiny kickback, mincy, tiny. So small that, like I said, if I was the dealer, I wouldn't bother doing the paperwork. It's not worth the money that they're being paid to do it. So if you do find a dealer that's doing it, be very sort of thankful that they are doing it, because you'll probably find that a lot of the major dealers will not touch it. Now, some important parts to notice about the battery lease buyout. First of all, you're going to have to pay for it fully in cash or a separate loan. You will not be able to refinance it with RCI. That is a no-no. You're going to have to basically get the dealer to invoice you for the battery and pay for it. That's it. There's no finance offered by RCI. You either carry on with the battery lease monthly payment or you buy it out fully. So if you want to get a personal loan and buy it out that way, you can. That's one way of doing it. Some important notes. First of all, the battery warranty, if you're on a lease, the lease part will end, but Renault are going to guarantee that the battery will be the original as if you had bought an I model. So that will be 100,000 miles or 8 years from the date of registration. So if you've got an older 2014 plate Zoe, you will still have some warranty left on the battery, warranty under the 8 years, 100,000 mile deal. If you're on a newer Zoe, again, if you've got a 1-year-old Zoe, you're still going to have 8 years, 100,000 miles from the date of registration. So that's from the date of reg of the car. So that's a very, very, very big important note, and there's going to be a conclusion at the end that I suggest you watch to the end to find out what I recommend for older Zoes. Battery buyout is going to be based on the age of the vehicle, kind of. It's also going to be based on the age of the battery. So if you've got a 2018 Reg Zoe, but you had a new battery pack fitted in 2019 because of a fault, your price will be based on the 2019 price. So it's when the battery was fitted, not how old the car is. So it's age based, but age based on the battery. The majority of people, that will mean the battery that's in the car physically. Very, very few failures have happened on Renault Zoe batteries, as we all know, but the ones that have failed will be based on when they were replaced, repaired, etc. And Renault are planning on running this battery lease buyout at neutral cost. Neutral cost means no added profit for them and no loss for them. So they're not going to lose any money in selling these battery leases out, and they're not going to make any money. They just want to write them all off, get rid of them all. And this is because of multiple problems, including very few staff, the administration it takes to do it, renewing them all every time they run out every 1 or 2 years, if the owner's still got them. It's a nightmare for them in paperwork, and if you want my honest truth, very, very poorly managed by them. And that's why they want to get rid of it. It's just become a headache. They're not going to get any more now with a new car, so they just want to get rid of them and write them all off. So let's skip to the point. You're just all shouting at me, Nick, shut up, stop wobbling on. We don't really care about the rest of it. We just want to know how much it is. Well, here we go. I've run a couple of quotes on different Zoes, different age prices. So let's give you a couple of indications. A 22 kilowatt Zoe battery, kilowatt hour battery, is going to be cheaper than a 40 watt kilowatt hour battery. That is fairly obvious. Renault RCI are going to initially be targeting 22 kilowatt hour batteries because they're the ones they want to get rid of first, and also the price looks more attractive to the owners than the 40 kilowatt hour batteries. So for a 22 kilowatt hour battery on a 2016 16 plate car, you're probably looking at around about 3,800. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. So I reckon a 15 plate Zoe, we're going to be hovering around about the 3,000 mark, 3,200 mark, and then a little bit cheaper again if you've got a 14 plate. If you've got a newer Zoe, a ZE40 model, call it 9 months, 10 months old, 12 months old, around that price, Renault are going to be asking 6 grand. Now you can see why they're going to be targeting the 22 kilowatt hour batteries rather than the 40 kilowatt hour batteries. So yeah, prices, weirdly, you're on the crisp point if you're a 2015 plate car. Now let's go into the conclusions that I think that you should do should you buy it out. Now these are my own conclusions on if you should buy the battery lease out. Everyone can form their own conclusions, but this is just my personal advice, my personal conclusions. If you've got a very, 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 very early Renault Zoe 22 kilowatt 2014, or younger, whatever Zoe, and you're thinking about buying your UK battery lease out, my advice would be don't. Keep the battery lease, because you're only going to get a very, very small amount of warranty left on that battery. And if you keep it battery lease, well, Renault still have to guarantee the battery. So unless they're offering the battery at, I don't know, say £1,000, tell them that you'd rather pay the monthly price, because when it fails, they have to put you a repaired battery case in. And yeah, I'd rather have a new replaced or refurbished battery from them than say, I don't know, pay £1,000 and then pay, I don't know, £6,000–7,000 for a repair. So what if you've got a 2015 plate, 2016 plate 22 kilowatt hour Zoe, like me? So you've still got quite a bit of warranty left with Renault under the battery lease contract, because it's 8 years, 100,000 miles. And you've got a fairly attractive price between £3,000 and £4,000. Should you buy it out? I don't know, make your own mind up, because I don't think I'm going to buy mine out. I think I'm going to leave it how it is. And then if I come to sell the car, the person's got the option of either having a slightly cheaper car or buying the battery lease out. It removes that argument of, I don't want a battery lease. Well, you can pay for it now. You can buy it out. So all those naysayers that have moaned about battery lease not being able to buy out, well, you can buy it out now. So do you think it's worth that £3,800? Probably not. But will it add £3,800 to the price? Well, judging by what they're doing second hand, battery owned, battery lease, yes, it probably will add that price. But it'll make it about the same price as if you could just buy a battery owned version anyway. And for me, there's no advantage me outlaying, £3,800 on buying my battery lease Zoe out, because A, I'd have to go and get the £3,800 out of my bank, and two, I'd lose the breakdown cover from Renault, which, if you don't know, battery lease Zoes include tyre puncture repair relay. So if you've got you don't get any tyre, they don't repair the puncture for free, but they will pick you up if you've got a battery lease Zoe. Even if you run out of charge, break down, tyre goes flat, anything like that, they will pick you up. So I'm going to be losing out on breakdown. I'm going to be losing out on having an unlimited life warranty on the battery, and I'm going to be £3,800 poorer. So yeah, I'm probably going to keep it exactly as it is. The next question is, what if you've got a 2016 plate Zoe? Don't buy it out. It's £6,000. It's an absolute rip-off. If you've got a 2019 plate 40 kilowatt Zoe, keep it exactly as it is leased, because it's not worth it. But if you come to sell the car and said buyer definitely wants a battery owned version, the option's there for them. But if you've got a newer Zoe, personally my advice would be don't buy the battery lease out, it's too expensive. So I hope that's made a lot of people happy that you can now buy out the battery lease Zoe. I'd just like to say a special thank you to one of my new patrons, Neil E. Roberts of Sussex EVs. Thank you for signing up to my Patreon. If you want to know what Patreon is, please check out the link there. Please click subscribe there and check out my other videos there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.